Hello, everyone, and welcome to our round one Q&A. It is here. We are in round one week, and AFL Fantasy is about to get very, very exciting for all of us. And I don't know about all you guys. I said it on Sunday. I'm just going to be happy not to have to play around my team so much. I'm looking forward to locking in some of these players, and we got 9 games of footy to be watching this weekend, which is fantastic. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And for those listening back on the pod, it is Tuesday, March 11, and we are about 48 hours away from the first game getting underway. Joining me is my co-host and fellow AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Tim Guest. Guesty, mate, how are you? You getting keen for some footy, mate, or are you getting a bit nervous?
Yeah, trepidation is the word. Anticipation and trepidation, maybe. I know we're excited to have our teams locked away, but we also know what comes on the other side of that, right? Which is where for the next, 6 months of our life, basically how we're going in life is solely determined by our rank that week. We're about to enter the washing machine of AFL Fantasy. Pretty excited for it. Kind of really been playing with my rookies at the moment. I mean, things have changed a little bit since my team reveal, so I apologise to all the listeners out there. It was genuinely my team at that time, but you know what it's like. I'm sure you guys have changed your teams a million times since as well. But yeah, I'm just it's those last couple of players. It's like 3 players that you kind of tweaking around, or those last little pieces that you're just trying to get to lock into place. And we got some good experts that are coming on tonight to help everyone out and help us out without those burning questions as we enter round one.
Exactly right. And we do have a big thing that we'll get started just before we get into answering all your questions. So in the live chat, get those questions in, because we'll be going through a ton of questions. No discussion really today. We're literally going to be going through all questions. But before we get into that, Tim, we did say that we've got a bit of an announcement to make. So why don't you go ahead and let the listeners know what is happening?
Yeah, well, so over the past couple of weeks, we've had a huge response to our competition to be the 20th coach in the AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup, proudly sponsored by Infinite Wealth. Obviously, you can still get across there and register for our brand new online program at infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy. But, entries closed yesterday. We drew the winner today, and we can now announce that the 20th coach in the Content Creators Cup, Bales.
How you going, fellas?
Is John Hugh, mate. Oh, no, that's fine, mate. That's totally fine. How are you, mate? Congratulations on being the 20th coach, mate. How you feeling?
Yeah, great. It's just good to be on with all you lads that I listen to when I'm driving to and from work. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, we're very glad to have you in. Obviously, what we've been doing this year is outsourcing, because none of us content creators can knock the ball boys off the top of the comp. So we've been outsourcing to the kind of the fantasy community, mate. I'm sure people will want to know. Tell us a little bit about your pedigree. How long you've been playing AFL Fantasy? Are you a casual player? Do you take it pretty seriously? And give us your pedigree. What chances have we got at knocking the boys off?
Yeah, so I've been playing for about 20 years. I remember the old days of the 2 Bowden boys kicking the ball to each other. Obviously, it's had an effect on me life. I've lost my hair. But yeah, my best finish I had was, I think it was the COVID year. I finished 520th.
Yeah, beautiful.
And then it's sort of been a bit of a yo-yo the last few years. I've had a top 3,000, a top 5,000. I won't talk about last year because that was just an absolute shambles.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to forget last year as well, mate.
Yeah. But yeah.
Congratulations, mate. Well, it sounds like you've been up there a few times, so it looks like you're going to give us a shot of knocking them off. Mate, how's your preparation gone for the season so far? Do you feel settled with your team, or, there's still a bunch of changes to go?
I think this has been one of the hardest years because the structure just looks so different to the other years that I've done it. Like most years, you go the guns and rooks, but I feel like there's so much value in that middle range, and just trying to battle from this opening round of not trying to bring all these players in who've got these low break evens.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to start, we've got that early buy as well. We've got to be careful of, but some of them do look pretty tasty. Why don't you tell us? You got a couple of players that you kind of have locked away all pre-season, or a couple of favourites there?
I think Zeri's the one. I think nearly everyone has had him locked in from the start. For me, I'm a big Lions fan, so once that game got cancelled in opening round, Will Ashcroft become a lock in my team.
Tasty.
I think, him having a full preseason this year, I think the baton might get handed over to him a little bit in that midfield. So I really think he's one that's going to fire this year.
Beautiful.
Just one thing on Will Ashcroft, I'm actually keen to know is that I guess I've currently got him sitting in my own team, and I'm just wondering, can Ashcroft, Neil, and Dunkley all average over 100? Because really only the Dogs have been the team that have had the three midfielders. So do you reckon that all three can go over 100, or do you think maybe Ashcroft goes over 100 and one of the other guys doesn't? Do you think he'll get near 100, maybe 95? What do you reckon with Will Ashcroft?
Oh, I think we'll push 100. I think what you'll see is players like Hugh McCluggage will push out more to the wing in that half forward role. And the way Brisbane play, the way they chip the ball around, the fantasy points are there for them. And you're saying with Will, you watch the way he played in the grand final, and just in those last few rounds, that talent's just there. And I think he's just really going to just really step up. If anyone drops back, I think it'll be Neil's that year older. Injuries might start come in with his age. He's pushing like 32 now. So, yeah, I think if anyone's going to drop back, I think it'll be Lockie. But Dunks is just a stalwart.
Yeah. No, I think you're right with that, mate. Look, the other position that's been really tough for people is the defence, mate. So D1 has really been an uncertain position. I want to know, mate, who you got sitting there at D1?
I have Sheasel. I have gone between him and Zorko, but just his age and those calves.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get through a full year again. I think at some stage he's going to, just at that age, I just think it will happen at some stage. His calves will go on him.
Yeah, as Luke said from the Ball Boys, I think on Sunday night, there's lightning strike twice. I'm not sure if we're going to get another season like we did last year.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, it sounds like the team's getting prepped and ready, and it's certainly going to give us a shot at knocking the boys off. Once again, mate, congratulations on winning the competition, and mate, enjoy being a part of the Content Creators Cup. Yeah,
really, really appreciate it, and thanks for the opportunity.
No dramas, mate. By the way, I'll get the league code to you so you can pop in a little bit later as well, and we'll have that league now filled.
Easy as, mate. Thank you very much.
Good on you, John.
Thanks, John. Beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. We're really happy to pass that out to John. I really enjoyed doing that this year, and we had a great response. So it might be something we look at continuing next year as well.
Exactly. So it is time, though. We'll get through a heap of questions, and we've got a couple of special guests. One isn't currently here yet. I'm assuming he's obviously at work or something, so he'll jump on. But we do have number 2 coach from 2024. It is coach of Pom United. It is Tom Hales. Tom, mate, we've got you. This is the third time. We had you at the very beginning revealing your team. We had you about midway before all the Pracky games. And now I think it was fitting that we get you just after all the Pracky games have finished up. So, mate, how are you? And how's everything tracking about 48 hours away from the first partial lockout of the season?
I just want round 1 to start so I can stop this.
I just want it to all be over.
I think I've had about 45 players running through my side today. I can't decide a structure. I can't decide. And that basically means anyone's available to play, including Sam Taylor.
We'll be discussing
so
him, I'm sure.
I'm happy to chat with you two and Liam when he gets on and answer some questions and hopefully sort some things out in my head for where I'm going to go for round 1.
Yeah, exactly. I've just seen a bit of crackling, Tom, with your headphones as well. So, but yeah,
I'm on a new laptop, so this could be a problem. I'll have a play.
Cool. I'm sure he'll figure it out. But yeah, cool. As we said, though, we got plenty to get through tonight. So I think I know we'll get asked about these things. So we'll start off just with answering just a heap of questions and smashing through these. And when Liam does jump on, we'll introduce him on the pod as well. So let's get started. And I think Sean has asked the question I think we're all wondering about. So Sean has said, should we start Sam Taylor over the likes of a Sam De Koning and a Joel Frazier purely for the 80 to 100K cash gen and then trade him on his buy so we get a week to look at those two? So, Tom, I'm interested to know what you think about Sam Taylor, because I've been thinking about this and I've thought about it a lot more since the pod is done, because obviously we went live not that long after the game and we're sort of wondering about it. So, looking at it, -2 break even. He has got a 118. His break even was 51 last week. So he's probably already going to be going up 50, 60K from that. And then on top of that, if he can go 50 or 60 at least this week, that's another 40, 50K on top of that. You're looking at maybe 100 to 120K. And if he pumps out a big score, what are you thinking about? Firstly, Sam Taylor, and then I guess we can look at the likes of those other guys and seeing what we'll be doing with those. So, Tom, what are your thoughts on Sam Taylor at D6?
My thoughts are, if we had 6 defenders who were happy to start on the field, it wouldn't be even a conversation. But I don't think we do. I get to 4 and I get stuck. So we're looking for different things to do. One thing I will say in the very pro Sam Taylor camp is it isn't we have to trade in round 2. We can realistically, our D6 isn't going to be in our best 22. Whoever we put there is probably at best your 16th, 17th best scorer. And if it is a rookie like a Pryor or a Reed or a trainer from Richmond, they probably aren't. You're not looking for them for elite scoring, especially in the early rounds. So if it happens that we do get a couple of bullets in round 1 and he sits there for a couple more rounds, I see 2 distinct jump-off points from it, round 2 and round 6, where we get a whole host of DPPs that we can fling around to help us improve our defensive line. And if we have to hold till round 6, in worst-case scenario, only 2 scores will have to count on field. Round 1, which you're doing it with your eyes open, like it obviously has to count in round 1, and that round 5 before the DPPs take effect in round 6. So I'm currently off. I have been on. I have been off again, and I've been back on, and now I'm currently off. But I think it's a complete line ball call, and as long as you're going in with your eyes open of why you're doing it, and there's nothing dramatically better you can do with the extra 200K from, say, a Jackson Pryor, then I would say getting that extra information on those slight unknowns of SDK is definitely a positive for me.
Yeah. Tim, obviously, I was going to say that.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say that obviously we'll be doing a lot of rapid fire with a lot of questions because there's a ton that are going through on Twitter and in the comments. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on.
I just wanted to say
we had a bit of a conversation about it last night on the phone.
Yeah, so I think this depends on how your defensive line is ranking up. So I think if you've got I think you could have him at a D6. I don't think you could have him at a D5. I think the other thing I would say about it is I would have him over a Sam De Koning. Well, not over a Sam De Koning. If you've got a Sam De Koning, I would and you can afford, that's where I would consider it. But if it's a Joel Frazier, I think I would be taking Joel Frazier over a Sam Taylor option. I just feel like that's safer. It's, I totally get the argument about, look, one of the things I'm also a bit thinking about, like I know people are going for this early cash gen, and I know cash gen early is important, but I'm also, I don't know that one additional week is going to, like, missing the, a player that played in the early round or something along. I just don't know that after round 6, that's going to make too much of a difference. Like, I think the other rookies are going to catch up, particularly if they're a better rookie or a better lower value price player. So, yeah, look, like I said, D6, I think you can do it, but if you can afford a Joel Frazier, I'd be taking that option and not, and not be going down this path.
Yeah,
that's all.
A few people have said, could you start him at a D5 and put a Pryor there? I think that this is a purely D6 play, and that's it. And the reason that I like it is you get a look at all the other options. You get a look at, if you don't start obviously a Jackson Pryor. I don't know if anyone's seen, obviously, Boy Allen isn't going to be selected. Apparently he's ill, so he won't be playing this week. So we don't get a look at him, but at least that's a pivot option. You can maybe, if you go rookie down, you can go up and you can have a look at those other options. You get a look at Sam DeConing. So I like the guaranteed bit of cash gen, but I guess if you start him on field at D6, just accept that there is a chance that he may drop a 20 or a 30 and you might lose 30, 40, 50 points on a few others, but you'll get maybe that accelerated 30, 40K. I think this is best case scenario, purely a 1 week play. You have it for Melbourne, you take the cash gen, you jump off next week, after next week, and then that's it. But if Carnage hits, you've got that, I guess, grace period of rounds 2, 3, 4 with best 18, and you can have in there as well. So, but the other thing that I thought I'd note with this is the fact that Sam Taylor plays the second to last game of the round. So if you have a bullet or two hit already, you can jump off to another rookie at that point. Obviously, there's not going to be a huge amount, but you'll know, I guess, as the round goes, if you need to jump off of it just in case. So that would be the other thing that I'd raise as well. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I want to get Liam's thoughts when he does jump on as well. But we will continue with just a few other questions here, and we'll touch a little bit back on that, I reckon, because it is a bit of a talking point there. Uncle Deja's got this one, Tom. So thoughts on going Sheasel to Ash and then SDK to D6. So I'm assuming that's, just going a Sheasel down to Lockie Ash and then going a rookie up to DeConing at D6. What are your thoughts with that play?
I'm not a huge lover of Lockie Ash, purely because I don't really know what's changed for him from previous years. He was playing the halfback role. You could say maybe Perryman's gone, but he wasn't a particularly large ball user or scorer. I think a 99-point second half for him is just a little bit of an outlier. I'm not a huge lover of that. But I also do like not having a rookie D6. I think I prefer Ash and SDK over Sheasel and a rookie, I think. Because then at least you have the potential of underprice of value out of both picks rather than just one, I think.
Yeah. The one thing I would, obviously, I'll just add to that is that if you've got on the bench a Luke Trainer emergency Thursday night and he's not the sub, and he pops like I don't know what score you'd be happy with, but with Bo Allen not going to be there this week, he will come into the side at some point. Tom, would you be happy to, if Trainer put up a 70, 80, 90, whatever, happy to jump off of a Sam Taylor or a DeConing or whoever you got at D6, put a Bo Allen there and then take that score? And that also gives you a VC loop if we have the Ruck 30 green dots. What are your thoughts?
I think we'd have to have some kind of guarantee. And I know Marshall has not been named on the injury report by St Kilda. That's just been released in the last hour. I think we'd have to have guarantee that Harry Boyd plays. Because I don't want 2 red dots round 1. I want my cash gen. I want to get as much cash as I can. You still get the cash gen from Trainer, even if you give up 40, 50 points. I'd prefer having all those green dots because, especially defensive rookies, they can pop up. Before you know it, you've got 2 red dots on the bench and you're praying for no late outs. So I don't think I would do that. It would need a 100+ score from Trainer, I would say, for me to pull a move like that. But I'm quite conservative when it comes to those kind of things.
Yeah. No, very, very good point there. IT's got this question, Tim. Rankin and then having Kako at F8 or Petrarca and then having Max Hall at F8?
So the first one. So who was it? Kako
and having Rankin on field.
Yeah, Rankin. Yeah. Look, I'm a bit concerned now. I've been tooting bloody Petrarca's horn for a while, but I'm now a bit concerned about that tag. So I've faded him. And then Max Hall. I mean, I just don't know if he's going to play, right? I just don't think you can be putting a rookie in your team that's not going to play. Well, there you go. It's not best 22.
Yeah, and if he's sub as well, Sunday they play the first game, so a lot of the teams have already played. So is there going to be a lot of pivot options if that does happen? Sean Wennell, Tom, thoughts on an Ollie Hollands? So he's been a guy that's been fairly popular throughout the preseason. Probably, I guess the community's gone a little bit colder on him with a Chera and a Will Day and Petrarca and a Tom Powell and a few other options sort of coming up. What are your thoughts on Ollie Hollands starting with him?
He's been in my side for weeks and he's still there. I know the community's got a bit colder on him, but he's priced at 60. I can see him doing 20, 25 points upside, 80, 85. We need to be vigilant of his role. If he starts playing wing time up instead of half back time, we need to look at getting off that. But I'm a big Ollie Hollands fan of halfback. We do have some real game sample size at the end of last year, and he scored very well. So
what did he score, Tom?
I think he averaged about 90 in not 4 games, with no kick-ins.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll get kick-ins. I don't think he'll get kick-ins now.
Do we know who he played at all?
I know one of them was when they had all the outs and they beat the Eagles over here. Was one of them. I can't remember the others off the top of my head. But I think Carlton have got a fairly nice run to start the year. So, especially with Richmond round 1, I think that could be half-back heaven of just ball, especially late in the game.
Yeah, so Carlton's run to start the year. They got obviously Richmond, Hawthorn, bit trickier, but it is at the MCG, so that could be a little bit better there.
He scored well last week against Hawthorn.
Yep. Exactly. Then you got the Western Bulldogs, Collingwood, West Coast, North Melbourne, Geelong, then Adelaide, then St Kilda. So it's pretty nice run.
That run is about as good as you're going to see for an extended period. And at that point, you're probably about ready to get off anyway. He could be a nice early upgrade or even a shift into the defensive line, an upgrade, one of those stagnating defenders, maybe like a Perryman might have stagnated by that point. Can we get them up to an Uber? So, and if
you're playing that rookie or Sam Taylor and you've gone down a rookie, round 6 comes along, put Ollie Hollands at D6, and then you can put a midfield rookie who'll be better, or maybe you've upgraded that point. You can do that. So definitely something to be looking at there. Alex has got this one. I'm assuming he's a Brisbane fan as well because he's got Will Ashcroft as his pitcher. But he says, "Hey guys, I think we need to be worried about Levi playing this week. Taking the grand final team from last year, it may be starting sub at best. Any unbiased thoughts, Tim? What are your thoughts with him?"
Look, I was certainly concerned about him being a sub prior to watching him play in that Amy series game. I just thought he looked like a ready-made footballer. I think he, made that Brisbane side a better side. So now, look, I'm not all over Brisbane. I wouldn't be able to sit here and list off what their best 22 is, but I then also, I can't specifically remember the comments about him after the game as well, even before the game. I mean, coach there was talking about how the youngest son is, always meant to be the most talented, and that seems to be the case again here. Look, talking him up, I'm a bit concerned about a sub, but I mean, I think this is where, we've got like a Lucas Camprielli or something along those lines playing on the Thursday night. If he's not a sub, maybe we're better off sticking him on the ground just to give ourselves a little bit of safety. Bales, what do you think?
I'm still fine having him on there, but this is part of the reason why I'm liking it like an O'Driscoll at M7 or someone like that. It means that you've got the flexibility to have, if it does happen, you put Levi on the bench and you put a Finn O'Sullivan on field or whoever you want to play there. Or if both an Ashcroft and O'Sullivan play and they look good, you can always downgrade someone in the midfield right and put that cash elsewhere. Maybe that's your way to go Sam Taylor up if you start him at D6. Maybe you've gone Davidson at F6 and you want to take him off field, you can go him up to the guy that looks good. So I think I still like having, I've got Ashcroft on the field at the moment at M8 and I've got Finn O'Sullivan on the bench, but there is a chance that obviously I can switch it and put Levi on the bench just to get a look. But I think the scoring pedigree is there as a junior that I think I'm still fine. I don't think he'll be the sub, But as we say, who knows? As you say, Alex, the grand final team from last year, Danaher's out, but you'd imagine that Sam Day comes into that spot. And so it'll be interesting to see where he fits and who goes out of that team.
The only thing I will add to help you with this as well is Brisbane plays second game on Saturday. You have North who play after them, who have Finn O'Sullivan. You have Port who play after them, who have Joe Berry, forward, but still a rookie who might get a gig. You've got St Kilda after them. You've got Adelaide after them. You've got Melbourne after them, all who have rookie midfielder options who could possibly get a full game in case you like Levi's the sub, abort. You'll still have, you don't have to make the decision until you get the information if he's a sub or not. I think if he's not the sub, he's a walk-up on-field player for us.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if there's any questions about him, but I don't know, Bales, you were on with Fry the other night. Sam Layla, where do you see him fitting? He's obviously debuting. Do you think he'll be a sub?
I don't think he will be. And obviously we'll know. The good thing is plays first game. I actually asked Fry this, and I'm sure Fry will be fine with telling everyone this as well. Message Fry and asked him about Sam Lawler and what his thoughts are about starting him as an M9. And he said he'd actually have him over the Melbourne boys in a Lindsay and a Langford. And I think that comes down to a lot to do with the fact that he's been named on a Monday after obviously being injured the last couple of weeks. He looked good in the first half. Granted, no Taranto, no Hopper. All those other guys weren't playing. But his job security is going to be great. He's going to get games. I don't see them. He's not the sort of guy I don't think that'll be subbed. Be the sub. Again, he could be subbed out, but I don't think he'll be the starting sub. And the good thing with him is, and why I'd rather start him and find the extra bit of money to start over a Boxer or whoever, is that it's a lot easier to go him down to the rookie that pops than going a rookie up if Sam Lawler pops. So I just think that I think he's going to get a 50-50 split mid-forward, and I think he'll score okay. Obviously, we've got to remind ourselves he will play for Richmond. They're not going to score a heap of fantasy points, but if he can average 65, 70, I think we'd be pretty happy. So,
just to throw in something else, like going back to the conversation a little bit about Hollands, right? Like, we think he's priced about 20, 25 points. 80, 85, I think is pretty safe, right? Maybe he goes a little bit higher than that. But, you could get one of these rookies, which is going to, arguably average more. And I think the other thing that's important to keep in mind as well is that after round one, we're best 18. So if you've got one rookie on the field, your Nathan O'Driscoll's probably not going to count. So, yeah, I'm just wondering whether there's better use that we can put to money like that. But look, this is all subject to how the sub goes, right? So, this is what we don't know, and this is, how things are going to play out. But I guess we also got to remember at this stage of the season that you've got to build your side around your rookies. So, it's almost like I know at the beginning of preseason, we kind of delete your team and restart again. But I almost think like after round 0, you basically have to delete your team again and start to build it again based on rookies. And there's been obviously a lot of content out there this week. Jeppers Juniors, Fry, coaches panel put out a rookie pod today. So, use all of those resources, but then, start to build from the rookies first.
Yeah, exactly. Say's got next question here. Tommy says, can you rank Dawson, Taranto, Petrarca, Josh Kelly, and Connor Rosie? So what I'll do, I'll list 2 names and you rank and we'll go from there. So Dawson and Taranto.
Dawson, I like Taranto, but bad run, so later in the season.
Yeah. Where does Petrarca fit there?
Better than Taranto, worse than Dawson, if you're using Dawson as an M1 captain option, which I am currently. Yeah.
Do you have Josh Kelly at the bottom of that list?
Josh Kelly's as far down the list as possible. I love Josh Kelly. He's been my boy over many seasons. I love him as a fantasy player. If Tom Green's back this week, I think he's the first one out of there. So,
yeah. And then Connor Rosie, where does he fit in this list? I'm assuming near the top.
If we're taking the stub toe / ankle / taking that out, I think he's the top. I think his value. He's got a great run. He's got no competition in that midfield with no butters. He is the dog. He's the captain of Port Adelaide. He's the main man. Yeah, he literally was in my first draft and he's not left my side. So,
yeah. Xavier Barker, Tim, Sheasland, Petrarca, or Holmes and Dawson?
Sheasel and Petrarca.
Or Holmes.
Look, I think the thing we've got to remember about Petrarca is I think he's 15 points underpriced, and I think we can pretty reliably say that based on, his past where he's consistently been that kind of 103, 104, 105 guy, right? So there's definitely value there. Holmes, I'm not, I don't know whether it's a Geelong thing. I'm just not that hot on. Dawson, I am hot on. Sheasel, I think he's going to be a great pick, but I struggle to see him being value. So, where does that leave me? I'm not sure if I like any of those. What about a Tom Stewart instead of a Max Holmes? I like a Tom Stewart more than I like a Max Holmes.
Yeah.
I would go those two.
So, yeah, I'd go, if to pick between the two, I'd go Holmes and Dawson in the combo. But we actually did have a question from Trisso on Twitter as well, saying thoughts on Stewart, talk of mid-time priced to 87th. Interesting, Tom. I wanted people not to be really talking about this too much, keep under wraps. So, Trisso, mate, you've let the cat out of the bag because he's currently sitting in my team. Tom, what are your thoughts on Tom Stewart?
Tom Stewart's a guy who's probably come into my considerations in the last couple of hours, just looking for defenders and the fact it's going to be 36 degrees in Geelong on Saturday. Lots of chip around as that loose man, starting the midfield, pushing back as that loose man, like he did end of last year, averaged over 100. I think Tom Stewart could be a very, very nice D1 option with some upside, which I think we're very much struggling for. So I'm Tom Stewart over Max Holmes. Max Holmes, a great player. I just don't think he's a natural fantasy scorer.
Yeah.
So, Bales, why don't you go through the stats that we were kind of looking at with the Thomas Stewart?
Oh, damn you!
Well, just briefly, wasn't it? So he's priced at 87.
Yep.
We expect him to get that mid kind of role that he played last year.
Yep. I think we do.
And in that mid role, I think he averaged, what was it, somewhere between 93 and 107.
Yeah, well, I'm just popping it up on this, just getting it on here. So in games last season where Tom Stewart had a CBA, so what I'll do, I'm going to remove that West Coast game when he only played just over a quarter. Not going to include that, where he played at least a CBA. Averaged 106.9 from the 8 games that he played in season. If you add the final against Brisbane, where he played only, I think, 1 or 2 CBAs, average of 104.3 from 9 games. So the upside's there. Obviously, the risk with Stewart, right, is we say every year, he's going to average 100. He's going to go 105. He's going to go here. Something happens. It's an injury in game. It's a heavy tag and whatever.
So the other two things. He's got 2 injured games, right, as well.
Yeah, so 2 injured.
His current average.
There's actually 3 games here that were affected. So 2 vests and another injury. So round 6 against Brisbane, when he got the 47 from just under half a game, got a 76 in about 3 quarters against Richmond, and then the West Coast game in the final game of the season as well. So, yeah, just an interesting one to be noting. And he's also got St Kilda in round 2 at Marvel. So
one thing I will say on top of that as well, it gets you to round 3 when you've got a couple of Gold Coast defenders who come off their bye. I'm loving Dan Rioli as an option. The no opening round, I think he could be this season's Flanders/Sexton, and price in the 80s. I think he can take that next step. But we're not going to start him because no opening round and a round 2 bye. But Stewart can be a great placeholder with a Freo on a hot day where there's going to be some uncontested footy going around, and then St Kilda could get you off to that big start. And then if he does get injured, you can jump off.
Yeah, exactly. Cherry Rob Duvall Australian on Twitter has asked us here, and I do agree with that. I think he was Rob Duvall Australian. Who are you lads running on the forward bench? Any interest in Kako? I know Davidson and Stone are pretty obvious, but who else catches your eye? So, Tim, who have you currently got on your forward bench at the moment?
So right now, I've got Sam Davidson at F6, but keep in mind I'm playing with my team while we're on the podcast, so it's a fluid thing, right? But apart from Sam Davidson at F6, I've got Joe Berry and Connor Stone. Now, full disclosure, I have know nothing about Joe Berry really. I haven't really been looking at him for the past 2 weeks, but I did notice that Jeppa was quite big on him, as was Pete. So I've just been playing around with also because I've got a little bit of money left over, so I'm trying to spend up a little bit. But I think the other thing that's important to note is Caco's got Hawthorn round 1. This is not my intel. This is what I heard on +6. And look, I mean, we saw how Nick Watson went against Hawthorn, right? That small forward, I do wonder whether Caco's going to be pinned right down and not really be able to get too much of the ball.
Yeah, and also the fact that you lose the week of cash gen, right? And the fact that he's got the round 4 buy and no double price movement. So, on my bench, I've currently got Connor Stone. I'm playing Davidson on field, and I've got Sam Wicks at F7. So paying up a bit more for him. I'm only got him on, technically he could be my F6, but I got him on the bench against Brisbane. Get double cash rise. He's playing in defence, a bit more lockdown, but if he can score 60s and 70s, make a bit of cash, gives you, again, now that you can have a look at all the other forward rookies as well. So it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to want to pay near 400k on the bench, but at the moment, that's what I've got. I may move off, but that's what I'm looking at. Who have you got on the bench in your forward line, Tom?
I don't have Davidson F6, so I've just got Davidson and Stone. One thing I will just very quickly say about Kako, he is best 22. He is a guaranteed walk-up starter. A lot of our other options are a bit vesty, either red or green. So it's just something to think about. We might lose a week of cash gen, but we'll gain the safety of knowing there's probably going to be a green dot for a while. And I love the Wicks play. I think he grew through the game from being purely lockdown, and you could see him learning minute on minute of, okay, when can I jump off and be part of the rebound play with ball in hand, and when do I have to play on my man? So I think he could be a nice little 70 averager to shove at F6, sorry, maybe even move to D6 later in the year. I wouldn't get too carried away. One flag about Davidson, it was an outside game, community series game. Let's not be expecting the guy to average 80. He's playing on a wing. Like, it's a good role, but it's not you can get on a cold wing and average and score a 30 or a 40. So he might end up at my F6. I'm not saying that, but let's be tempering our expectations of how a winger can score.
It's a good point. I've currently got him there just because I don't want that D6 rookie on field. So that's where I've made that adjustment in my structure. Brisbane Bloods Fantasy, can you rank the following? Tom Powell. So Tim, I'll go for you for this one. So Tom Powell, Clayton Oliver, Finn Callahan, Will Day, Adam Chera, and Ollie Holland. So I'll do what I did with Tom to make it a bit easier. So we'll go, Powell or Oliver?
I think you have to pick Oliver, but I'm pretty bullish on Tom Powell.
Yeah. Where would Callahan sit in that list?
Third.
Yep. Will Day, where does he sit?
Fourth.
Will Day at fourth. Interesting.
Look, I'm still playing with the idea of not starting him. I know the cash gen is there, but I'm concerned about his early run. And I want points as well as cash gen. And okay, I might miss out on 1 week of cash gen, but compared to like an Adam Chera who, God knows what he's going to score against Richmond in round 1. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit hopeful. He's obviously injury prone, but I just think Chera's, like comparing those two, Chera plays one more whole game in that opening 6 rounds. So, that's for me, it's like an easy one ahead.
Yep, that's fair. No, I don't mind it. And then Chera, where does he sit out of the 5?
So I think he would sit above Finn Callahan. Look, once again, I mean, if you take the early buy out of these things, maybe the ranking would be different. But I just, I don't think about it that way. I'm thinking about these first 6 rounds. I'm thinking about when we get to our first lot of DPPs. I'm thinking about getting out of these kind of early buy rounds. Chances are I mean, look, there's a potential like a Tom Powell and a Clayton Oliver might be keepers. I don't see that. I mean, maybe Finn Callahan could be, but the early buy just, knocks him down a peg, right? So that he's not there. I don't see Will Day as a keeper, and I don't see Adam Chera as a keeper. So you need to make, I guess, this kind of arguing myself, right? About you need to make quick cash early and then get off them, right? But yeah, I'm just not sure at the end of those 6 rounds that Will Day will be any more highly priced than an Adam Chera.
Yeah. And then where does Ollie Holland sit as the final one?
He's the last of all.
Awesome. Cool. So you'd rank it Oliver, Powell, Callahan, Chera, Day, Hollands.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Anyone any different to that, Tom? Any different?
I think Hollands is in a different price bracket altogether.
Yeah.
So the rest of them are like, okay, these are the guys, maybe our M8 out of the buys kind of guys. Like, these are the guys that we were looking to keep as long as possible. I'm also I'm probably colder on Callahan. I'd put him bottom. He played his best game he could ever play and only scored 110.
Sure. Yeah.
Like 33 and 2 goals. Like, that's about as good as you can play for him, in my opinion. I just don't think he's got a natural fantasy game. So for him, he's
Tom Green coming back early as well.
Yeah.
I just think he's missing round 1. You get essentially a free look. Okay, you're costing yourself probably an extra 20, 30K by looking at it, but you'll get that confirmation with hopefully Tom Green is back this week. You'll see him there. If he goes another ton, you bring him in round 3. I think that's where I'd be sitting with Callahan and starting him. So
I'm probably Chera 1 though. I'm
oh really? You're really that on?
I'm big on Chera. I do have the Sam Walsh worry because he's going to be back for Thursday. Like, where does he fit in the rotations? I think Elijah Holland's being missing now helps Chera get a couple more time around the ball as Holland's playing as that high half forward pushing up. That might be where some of these mids rest. And with the Carlton having a great early run, I just think Chera he could average 105 for the first 6-7 rounds and be the Nick Martin, Matt Crouch smash pick of this year.
Yeah. Corey Blackledge has got this question, Tom. He said, thoughts on Max Gawn now with Lockie Keefe and Liam Reedy back-to-back to start the season? And obviously the question is, can you go Max Gawn over a Tristan Cherry?
I would say that is the only way you go Max Gawn. I don't think you do both.
No, Dacone's got to be in there, I think.
I think purely because we will now have the Kieran Briggs parachute option come round 3, 4, 5 when Briggs comes back and he's got an 8 in that price cycle. Cash is going to drop like a stone. So you have the Pitternet if he's named to Briggs when Pitternet's fit. If he comes back in, you have that fall down option. So I think you have to start at TDK. It is so tempting.
Can I, and once again, not my intel, this is from Pete on today's Plus Six podcast. So let's just think about Tom De Koning, right? First up, he's got the Tigers. So Nank's not exactly an easy matchup. Then he's got the Hawks, Lord Meek.
Nank's not hard.
Yeah, no, you're right, actually.
Nank's a very good matchup, yeah.
But Meek, English, Darcy Cameron. Okay, then he's got the West Coast Eagles. Then Cherry.
English is easy. Darcy Cameron by himself is okay. Not by himself is very hard, though.
Okay.
Depends on Mason Cox is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not an amazing run. I do agree with you. It's not an amazing run, but Cherry still works. And he's also priced at 89 or 88.
Yeah.
I can just see him going 100. And I say if it doesn't work, you're going to give it 3 or 4 weeks and you've got Kieran Briggs to go to.
Yeah.
That was my worry with starting TDK is where do you really go if everyone starts well? You're trying to upgrade him when actually you could probably use it for cash grab. To the actual question about Gordon.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
I'm really, really tempted. And if I need 70K, I might just do it.
Is it? I think it's like 30. I'm pretty sure it's like 30K.
Was it 30K?
Yeah, it's about 30K.
I need a little, but you might need 30K. like if you want to get a rookie up to the next rookie, you might need 30k. Right now I'm not doing it. Right now I'm going with the crowd, going with the highly owned player, just to not fall behind in case it does work. But Gordon's so tempting.
Yeah, it's very, very tempting. I'm tempted, and obviously I'll be releasing my captains on Thursday, and obviously Patrons will get that on the Wednesday. But I can pretty much tell you right now, I'll go on to top 3 option this week, no doubt, and may even be number 2 or number 1. Who knows? Might be right up there. But yeah, I think it is definitely a play, and something that we definitely need to be considering as well. We'll go to the next question, which is from Josh Tim. He says, please rank Lockie Ash, Miles Bergman, and Joel Frazier.
Jesus.
Tim loves ranking players.
Oh, yeah, no, look, and these, I mean, I guess these ones are just so hard to rank, right? So, Lockie Ash, I think, is about a 90, right? Miles Bergman, I don't know what he's. I mean, he's had a pretty good shine in the preseason, but I wouldn't even really know where to rank him. And then Frazier, I would probably rank last. Look, I'd probably actually do it Ash, Bergman, and Frazier.
Yeah, right.
Force putting guns to my head and make me rank them. That's how I'm saying it.
I'm probably Frazier, Ash, Bergman. Probably.
Really?
That's me,
I'm Frazier top. He's cheaper. He's going to have the Johannesson role. Worst case, if Dale misses, then obviously he's got the number 1 distributor role. No, North not a great matchup. Then goes into Collingwood. So, yeah, I'm probably him. And then you can have a look at Lee Ash and guys like that. And as Tom said, you can also go to a Dan Rioli if he goes well in round 1. But no, interesting. I like it. I like that. I like it.
I'm Frazier 1 too. I think Frazier's one of my 4. That's a lock.
Oh, really?
I think priced in like 62,
60,
early 60. He's a good.
If he goes 75, 80, that's still fine, I think. So
yeah, I think he's such. They could all average exactly the same, and I would not be surprised. So I'm taking the one that's 150k cheaper.
Yeah.
Andrew Griffiths has asked here as well, just on Max Gawn. He said, "Can you go Max Gawn and Tristan Sherry R1, R2?"
Yeah, I think that's a genuine play. I don't know that I would be picking Max Gawn over Christian Cherry. I just don't think there's enough. I mean, look, maybe if the 30k makes a good enough difference, then you can. But I think if you're going to be fading Cherry, you want to be looking for value. So, but yeah, I think a definite play is Gawn at R2.
Yeah, I've been on set and forget. It'd be funny if people start going there. Oh, geez, I think
but it's not set and forget. That's the problem. You're not going to be able to. Surely, you're not going to be able to stay on Gawn all year.
Yeah, well, you could, but obviously, yes, there is a chance that you. We heard Troy Chaplin say that they can potentially manage him this year, like if that's an in-game rest or a full rest, right? So that's obviously
even playing a dual ruck. They even talked about playing dual rucks.
Can I ask you a question? Harry Boyd is not named. Is Rowan Marshall an option? They've got a juicy ruck run to start the year.
Not for me. Not with limited preseason.
I don't think for me as well, but I think he's got the best ruck.
Good question.
And this will only be if Harry Boyd's not named. If Harry Boyd's named, and he'll be an emergency every week like Tom Campbell was. So that's not going to go away. I think he was my preference over Cherry before the injury, just due to the run to start the year. I think he could push on and then regress when his matchups get harder. Whereas I could see Cherry dipping, you could get on cheaper and jump up, and then he gets into the nicer run.
I feel that. I feel like if it was a Max Gawn injury where he had the larynx injury earlier in the preseason, where he could still run, still get his fitness in, that's fine. This is a pelvis injury where he hasn't. I'm not privy to knowing how much training he's done and stuff, but I can't imagine you're going to do much training with an injury to your pelvis. So that's my worry, is that they're going to name Boyd R1, and even if he isn't named, I'm not sure. But I like the question. It's a good question there.
I thought the question you were going to ask, Tom, was if Harry Boyd's not named, do you go to Archer Reed or do you have a red dot?
Oh, red dot.
I'm red dot.
Archer Reed's going to average 23.
Very specific.
Well, he's going to stay at 230k and not move.
I agree. I think. Are you, Tom, if Harry Boyd's not named, are you starting Harry Boyd in the hopes that he gets named? Or are you starting if you're going a red dot at R3, are you just naming like a Cohen Livingston who's not going to play and he's going to be a ruck forward that you can use as a looper that plays most games on Sunday?
I think I'm naming a Cohen Livingston.
Because the thing is, Harry Boyd will be emergency pretty much every week if he's not named.
And also, if there's another 230 ruck, is it Nick Madden from GWS?
Yep, GWS, yep.
If it might be that if Briggs gets injured and out for a while, they might want to put 5-6 games into. So apparently, he had a really good VFL season last season. So it might not be Boyd you want to bring in at R3 as an option, and the ruck forward allows you to move that red dot out of there if you want to, if there's someone that comes along. So I think I'd be like getting a true red dot, a Livingston or a Max Heath or something like that.
Yeah. Our very own Jordox actually sent through a question here as well. He said, can we discuss Max Gruzewski as a starting option for a quick cash grab, Tom? So what do you think about Big Gru? Can you start him on your bench to make a little bit of cash and then you can either keep him or you can pivot away?
I stress with Hogan a test for this week, I think. Or he might miss, and then Riccardi back round 3 from his suspension. Unless Krukowski has I thought he played really well on the weekend, but I think he's first one out for those guys coming in. I know there's a tall spot around because there's no Briggs, but it might be Krukowski plays one more game and then he's out the side. So I don't think it's an option. I'd sooner go for a small who's going to be a slow burn with like a Kako type than a Grosewski, because I think he'll be a red dot very quickly.
Yeah. Cool. We've got about 15 minutes, so probably maybe 20 minutes before we wrap up. So we'll go rapid fire because there are a heap of questions here. I want to get through as many as we can. So I'll say to each of you, and including me, when I give an answer, we'll go the answer and less the sentence, and then we'll move on to the next question. So we'll go here. Archer, Tim, thoughts on Nasiah at D1?
Yeah, I think I could definitely pick him. I think he's got a little bit of upside, safe pick. Not a huge amount of value.
Yeah. Mattman13 says, Tom, well, actually, no, sorry. He said, hey, Bales. So I'll see if I can answer this one. He said, anything to be worried about with Rosie? I don't think so. I didn't see the injury report. I don't know if he was named on the injury report at all. Maybe one of you guys can.
I'm looking right now.
So,
no,
so he wasn't named in the injury report. They said it was precautionary. He's fine. So, obviously, Rosie, we saw last year. It might not be, we've seen what happened, but I think he'll be fine. So, I'd still be starting him. Archie's got this one, Tom. Nasiah or Max Holmes?
Tom Stewart?
I think that's the right answer. Nasiah. That was it.
Yeah. So if you had to rank it, you'd be going Tom Stewart, Nasiah, Max Holmes.
I think so.
Yeah. Henry V. Is Finlayson really that bad of an option, Tim? What do you think? Thoughts on Finlayson?
I think it's just elevated risk compared to the other options we've got there, and we've got that many options. It just pushes him out.
Yeah, agreed. And he played St Kilda as well, so I'd want to see it again. Andrew Griffiths, Tommy said, anyone fading Sanders, just can't fit him in, and Garcia at F6 makes my team unbalanced.
You can fade that. You can fade it. I'm not, but you can. 100%. There's a lot of good forward options.
Yeah.
I'm fading Garcia, though. I'm going the other way. I'm fading Garcia.
Tony Ford, Tim, is Trainer an option at D7? Thoughts on him over a James Leake? I think I'd definitely be picking him over Leake, just because Tom Green back. Leake might not even be there this week. What are your thoughts on Trainer at D7?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good shout. Good scoring in the preseason, even though it was only a half. Check if he's named sub, but I don't think he will be.
Yeah, agreed, and we'll know that as well. What have we got here? Next one is from Andrew Domahidi saying, thoughts on Darcy Cameron as R2, Tom?
He played against. He scored really well, but he played against no Ruck, and they have an early bye. I think we have enough good options to fade that one.
Yeah. Matthew Murphy, is Sardis worth starting? I'm going to say no. He's got the round 4 bye, doesn't get the extra price increase, and it's not like he's got an amazing run. And I think we've got other options there, so I would be not starting with him there. Next one is from Sean Tim. He says, can we start Trainer or Zach Reid at D6 and hide behind the best 18 over the early buys, as they'll only count for a week? What are your thoughts on a Trainer or Reid at D6?
I'll definitely use the best 18 to hide your rookie scores. I think I would probably, if he's not the sub, I probably would back a Trainer over a Zach Reid, but I think they're probably potentially going to score about the same. What are the matchup? Richmond's versing Carlton, obviously, and Essendon's versing
Hawthorn.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, then, both pretty tough matchups. Yeah, I'm not sure. Flip a coin.
Yeah, I'd rather play Zach Reid if you're going out of the two, just because worst case, if Trainer, you loop him and on the bench and he goes on 120, you've always got the ability to potentially bring in a Bo Allen for a week. Whereas Reid at the G is take maybe a couple of kick-ins, and he scored a 75 in that Pracky game, so I think he'll go okay. What do we got here? Archie, Tom, Chera or Hollins? Like this question.
Chera.
Sentence as to why.
Chera could be top 10 mid.
Yeah.
Hollins hasn't ended it.
Yeah. Alex says bench Stone or Kako, Tim?
I would bench. Sure. Geez, hang on. So you're playing either Stone or Kako as your F6.
Yeah.
Why aren't you playing Sam Davidson? Unless you've got him
two rookies. It's going 2 rookies on field.
Oh yeah. Look, I'm not sure. Look, probably a Connor Stone I would pick over Kako.
Yeah, especially what we saw Wicks did to Nick Watson last week. So, mate, hang on. No, what am I talking about? Kako? No, Essendon aren't playing Sydney.
No,
disregard that. Who's Essendon playing?
Hawthorn. Wicks could do to him this week.
Yeah,
Sorry,
disregard that. I got it mixed up. That's me.
Yeah.
There's no real matchup for Kako this week. Very tall defence at Hawthorn. You might have some joy, but yeah. Neither.
Next one we've got is Spaced. Says, is Travalia an option? Haven't heard much about him, Tom. Is it just as simple as if Travalia is named, are you still just waiting a week to see in case he's a sub?
Yeah, I think you got to wait. I think he's a wait.
Would you pick him over a Jackson Pryor though?
No, because I think Pryor has a distinct role in the best 22. I think Travalia could be the sub if named.
Okay. Great.
But I think it was very telling when they had so many young players starting those practice games and Travalia didn't. I think he's a little bit down the pecking order at the minute.
Yeah. Ashwin, Tim, thoughts on Dunkley? Not a value pick, but run is great after Sydney. So what about him as a pod? No early buy now. What are your thoughts on a Dunkley M1?
He hasn't really been in my calculations because obviously he had that round 3 buy, and since then I probably really haven't looked at him. I mean, I don't know if there's any value in him. That's the problem. What's he priced at?
It's like 107.
1.1. Jesus, yeah. I mean, I think I would struggle to spend 1.1 to pick a Dunkley over like a Jordan Dawson. And, you save a bit of money there as well.
Yeah. Oliver's got this one, Tom. Who's better on field, Sam Davidson or Nathan O'Driscoll?
O'Driscoll. I think O'Driscoll has a little bit more history of scoring. He's been in the system 3 years now at Freo. Similar role. I think he's going to maul, and we're going to score well at Freo as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Oliver followed up with that saying if he starts Davidson on field, he can go a James Leake on the bench up to a Jackson Pryor, or just have O'Driscoll and keep Leake on the bench.
I think you've got to get green dots. So I don't know if Leake is going to be there. And if he is there, he might be the sub. So if that's what you have to do to get Leake out of your side, I'd be doing that.
Figsy Figliameno, Tim says, is Horn Francis a must-have over Petrarca? Petrarca's at least 15 points in value.
Yeah, I started thinking about this today. Like, I mean, I do think the Horn bag is underpriced, but, you know, I think it might only be 10 points, maybe 15, whereas Petrarca's probably certainly that 15. I am a little bit worried about, obviously, Petrarca's tag in the first round. And then the other thing is that the Horn bag's looking at, and he's definitely top 6. So, yeah, I probably would. The other thing I would stick with Hornbag is just ownership. You got the safety of ownership as well.
Yeah. I'm actually just in the DT Shiver Champions draft at the moment. Jordan Dawson got taken at pick 2. I was hoping he might fall, but there you go. Anyone that takes Jordan Dawson in a draft, to me, is not my friend anymore. What have we got here? Tony Ford, Tom says, can you have all of Day, Chera, Hollands, and O'Driscoll?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. There you go.
I do.
Heard it here first. So Sultan says, Tom Stewart a play over Holmes. Is he going to take points off of him? So you're still saying you like a Stewart over Holmes?
Look, I just see more upside in Stewart with those stats that we went through. Holmes, I'm not quite sure what he's going to score. And then, throw in just the uncertainty of a Chris Scott, which obviously taints both of them. But, I think I just feel a bit more secure with the Tom Stewart. I mean, I guess worst case, if, Tom Stewart doesn't really go well as a pick, he'll probably end up still scoring 95 like he has pretty much every bloody year for the last 5 years, no matter, how things are lining up for him. So that's still a 8 points of upside, 7 or 8 points of upside.
Yeah. Sports on Film,
cheaper,
Tom says. Yeah. Sports on Film, Tom says, is the midfield of Dawson, Rosie, Ashcroft, Oliver, and Day a strong midfield and fine to start? And I will preface this by saying that's currently my 5 midfielders at the moment. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Great starting team. Mine will look probably something very similar with 1 or 2 differences, maybe. Or it might be that exact. So I think that's... And you're also going to be fairly common, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And me and Sports on Film says, thank you, Tom. We appreciate it. Bailey Miller's got this one, Tim. Brayshaw versus Dawson. And he's saying, I know Bale's a Crows fan. And then also add Taranto in there as well, who he's high on.
Dawson. I still think that Brayshaw, I'd probably pick Brayshaw over Taranto. I think Taranto is going to be not a bad, potentially a good pick, but I think the thing that we've looked at is it's a pretty rough run for old Taranto in the first few games, certainly that first quarter of the season.
Yeah. Next one I'll go because I've got to make a pick in this draft. Matt Ivy, Tom says, Gawn versus English. Who do you reckon you'd go to those two?
I think just with the sugar hit of round 1 and round 2, I think I'd go Gawn. I just think, I think it's very much those round 1 and round 2 could get you off to an absolute flyer.
Yeah. We'll go 2 more questions and we'll wrap up there as well. MMA fan says here, I think I'll go to Tom for this one because I'm not sure Tim would have researched him much, but he said, hey guys, thoughts on running Sam Banks? Think he has upside and can generate heaps of cash, already have Nod and Chera. So Tom, what are your thoughts on a Sam Banks?
About 420k midfielder, am I right?
I think it's 480.
480. He could be absolutely unreal. I just think that's something we need to have a look at in a proper game. We can have a look. He's not going to get away from you round one. It could be that he is one of your fix-up trades. If you see him, he pops, you love the role in a proper game, then you can move there after round one. But I think we have to have a look first.
Yeah. And final question we'll go with. I like this one. Lobo the Pro Tim says Nathan O'Driscoll or Hugo Garcia if you had to pick one.
Oh, Jesus, this is a really good question. Because obviously Garcia's got the forward flexibility. Look, we haven't talked much about Garcia for a little while, and I'm just a little bit uncertain about his role and where he sits in that St Kilda side, and then also just how horribly bloody bad they were as well. Well, Tom, what do you think of Hugo? Give me your analysis of Hugo Garcia. I'd love to hear it.
I think he's underpriced. I think he's best 22. So I think that's a good starting point. I think there's a lot of players who would get the vest before him. I think we need to have a look at teams, and if we have a Hunter Clark or an older body who's going to play midfield named, and that might push him out from being the third banana to the fourth banana, that will increase my chance to fade him and shave some cash off there to be able to put somewhere else. But I think if he's quite clearly by the team named one of their starting three midfielders, I think he can go 70-75 in a forward line, which has options, but I think he could be one of the better ones. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I think that'll put a wrap because we could be answering questions for ages. So we'll wrap it up there as well. But if you do want more questions answered and you'd like to become a patron, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. We've actually nearly hit the goal that I put on before, and so I appreciate everyone that's signed up so far. If you sign up now, you've got a couple of days before the Richmond Cup game. If you are signed up before that, you obviously will go into the AFL Fantasy Fanatics Patreon Cup for some cash prizes for first, second, and third there. Plus, you get all bonus exclusive content throughout the season. And if you just want to help support us as well at the same time, then you can do that. So make sure you do head over there and get involved in that. It will be a very good season. And you also have access to me pretty much whenever you like. So all season, can answer all questions and that just through inboxes through there. But yeah, Tom, thank you very much for jumping on, mate. Once again, obviously, it was good to have it start of preseason, middle, and now right at the pointy end of the preseason, mate. So final thoughts to leave the listeners with, and then where can people find you across the socials?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on again. Always love to have a chat. All I'll say with your starting team, pick players that you've had to think about for a bit longer than just the Thursday afternoon scramble before round one. Pick players that you like watching, pick players that you've researched, that you've thought about, and just enjoy the ride because it's always going to be a fun one. And you can find me on X at Tom_Hales_. Happy to answer any questions, have a quick look over teams. And no, I'm not going to be revealing mine until after round one, so don't ask that one.
Beautiful, mate. Love your work, and thank you very much for jumping on. We will definitely be hearing from you a couple of times at least throughout the season, mate. So thanks for jumping on. Tim, mate, where can the people find you?
Tim Guest, AU.
And any final thoughts from you?
Look, just good luck. Stay calm. Try not to panic too much. And, if you do get a bit lost in your head, try and sit down and look at the players and maybe just predict what you think they're going to score and just go for the best value you think you can. But, yeah, apart from that, best of luck. Hope we don't all freak out at, what is it? Well, 4:15 in Perth, or 3:15 it'll be in Perth for those teams on Thursday.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was also thinking as well with answering the questions, if we ever make a merch line, we've got to get a T-shirt that's got Tim's face on it that says, "Oh, Jesus" on there, because that's so, yeah, beautiful. We'll do that, and then we'll get one with me and then Jordan Dawson and Rory Laird on there as well. So beautiful. Yeah. You can find me at BAILSDT as well, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans on Twitter. We'll be back on Friday for our pre-lockout chat. So you've got the double header. You've got the Ball Boys at, I believe that is 5 p.m. Eastern when they start. So tune into those boys beforehand. It's always good fun. I'll be definitely doing that. And then tune into, obviously, our show just straight after that as well, answering all your questions ahead of will be a second partial lockout, and big things coming in 2025, hopefully as well. So looking forward to that. As I said, hit the Patreon up as well if you want to get keen with that. And Liam also said as well he had footy training, so there's a bit of a time clash there. So that's all good. Maybe we might be able to get him on Friday or something. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll hear from him again soon. But thanks everyone for tuning in. If you are listening back on the pod and you can leave us a 5-star rating and review, that'd be fantastic. And on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and do all that good stuff over there. Good luck, guys. Enjoy Thursday Night Footy, and we'll chat to you guys in a few days. So thanks, everyone. See ya.
See ya.